topic taken for today's discussion is Ecology Part 4, that is population interactions. Different species of plants and animals, fungi, microorganisms, etc. interact with each other to survive and propagate. So interspecific reactions are either beneficial, harmful, or neutral to the participating organisms. Means two organisms belonging to different species come together to live in a beneficial way or harmful way to each other. These associations, when they are beneficial, they are represented with the symbol plus. If harmful, represented by the symbol minus, and when no effect or neutral, represented by 0. So, the population interactions are 6 types. Here I have given a table. When both the species are benefited, it is known as mutualism. If both the species are harmed, it is called competition. If one species is benefited and another one is harmed, it is called predation. In parasitism also, one species is benefited and other one is harmed, but there is a difference between predation and parasitism. I will be explaining the difference later on. Then commensalism. In commensalism, one species is benefited and the other species is neither benefited nor harmed. In amensalism, one species is destroyed or harmed and other species is neither benefited nor harmed. So in this way, there are 6 types of associations among different types of organisms. First, let us take up mutualism. In mutualism, both the participating species are benefited and no one is harmed. For example, take the lichens. Lichens is an association between fungus and photosynthetic algae or cyanobacteria. Here, both the species are benefited. The photosynthetic algae or cyanobacteria synthesize food through photosynthesis and offer a part of the food to lichens. In return, the lichens gives protection to the algae and also absorb water and nutrients. In this way, the association is beneficial to both the lichens and algae. Then another example is mycorrhizae. It is association between fungi and the roots of higher plants. You know that fungi helps in the absorption of nutrients from the soil, and in return it is benefited by the nutrients supplied by the plant. Here also both the participating organisms are benefited. Next, another very important mutualism is pollinators and plants. You know that majority of the plants are pollinated by insects. So without insects there will be no pollination, no fertilization and no production. But to pollinate, the plants have to attract the insects. We say, let us say, plants pay a fee for the service provided by the insects. This fee is provided in the form of 2 ways. Nectar is provided to the insects for pollinating the flowers. Then, when fruits develop, the fruits to be carried away to different places for propagation. If all the fruits fall at one place, there will be competition for survival. So, plants offer fleshy fruits for animals to transport the seeds and propagate the species. In this way, plants offer nectar and fleshy fruits for animals to help in their pollination and propagation. In this way, both are benefited. Then, another very important example is fig tree and wasp. Here, we have to remember one point, co-evolution. Co-evolution means both the participants of the association evolve together. If one partner evolves, the other partner also evolves. Otherwise, that relationship fails. So in the case of fig plants, what happens? Wasps. Wasp is a type of insect. It carries out pollination. Then, while pollinating the fig tree, the wasp is also rewarded by the fig tree. The wasp transports pollen grains from different fig trees and helps with cross pollination. And in return, the fig tree provides place for laying eggs for the wasp. And for developing wasp embryos or larvae, the fig tree offers some of the developing seeds. In this way, the fig tree gets cross-pollinated and the wasp finds a place to lay eggs, and the eggs or the larvae receive food from the growing seeds of the fig tree. Then orchids. Orchids are in different colors. And each species of orchids is benefited by only one type of bee or bumblebee. So, the relationship between the orchid and the pollinator is specific. Only a specific type of pollinator can participate in fertilizing or in pollinating a specific species of orchids. Then, sometimes there occurs sexual deceit. Sexual deceit is seen in the orchid plant Ophrys. Ophrys grows in the Mediterranean region. In the Mediterranean region, Ophrys grows and employs sexual deceit. It leads to pseudo-copulation. Here what happens is, one of the petals of the orchid plant resembles the female bee. So the male bee confuses that petal is a female bee and tries to copulate. That's why it is known as pseudo-copulation. When the male bee attracted towards the Ophrys orchid, thinking that there is a female bee, it brings pollen grains from other orchid or other Ophrys plant, and in this way it participates in pollination, but in return it gets no benefit. That's why it is called sexual deceit. Then, if the bee, female bee color pattern changes, accordingly the orchid flower also changes its color. If the orchid plant fails to change its color, it cannot attract the male bees and its fertilization is affected. That's why both the Ophrys and the pollinator co-evolve. Then, another relationship is sea anemone and hermit crab. Sea anemones are ciliate marine animals. They cannot move on their own. So what they do? They get attached to the hermit crabs. Hermit crabs are the ones where a crab lives in the empty shell of a molluscan. Wherever the crab moves, the empty shell also moves along with it. So, the sea anemones attached to the shell of the hermit crab and it is moved from place to place. As a result, food is available in plenty to the sea anemone. The hermit crab is also benefited because the sea anemone has stinging cells, and these stinging cells or nematocysts prevent enemies attacking the hermit crab. So hermit crab is protected from the sea anemone by its stinging cells, and sea anemone gets by movement from place to place. Then trichonympha and termites. It's a very important relationship. Termites are insects, but their food consists of cellulose. But the termites cannot synthesize the enzyme cellulase to digest cellulose. So, in their digestive system, they have one protozoan animal or flagellate protozoan known as trichonympha. Trichonympha synthesizes the enzyme cellulase and helps in the digestion of cellulose. In this way, it helps the termite to digest cellulose. In return, the trichonympha gets free accommodation and also food from the termite. Then another one is rhizobium and the root nodules of the leguminous plants. Here, both the rhizobium and the leguminous plants get benefited because rhizobium helps in the metabolism of nitrogen and also in return gets free lodging and boarding in the roots of the leguminous plants. In this way, mutualism helps both the participating organisms. The second one is competition. It is negative for both the participants, so it is represented by minus and minus. In this type of association, both the partners are affected and they suffer. Darwin has mentioned about competition. He said that competition is three types: interspecific, intraspecific, and competition or struggle with the nature. But the competition is different types. But in the competition, the participating species may fight for the same type of food which is available in plenty or in shortage. Sometimes not only related but unrelated species also participate in competition for the same type of food. One example is given in the book. There are some shallow lakes in South America. In these lakes, food is available in the form of microorganisms, and both the flamingos and the resident fishes fight for the same food. So in this way, competition is not only among the members of the same species or related species, but also among the different species. Then, according to one version, resources need not be a limiting factor in the competition, but their feeding efficiency is important. If one species is efficient in its feeding habits over the other species, it is called interfering competition. In this association, what happens is the species with superior feeding adaptations will survive and other one is eliminated. Then competitive exclusion. Gauss is a famous ecologist. He and other ecologists have shown that when the resources are limited, the superior species will eliminate the other species when the resources are limited. So when the resources are limited, according to Gauss and others, the superior species always eliminates the inferior species. They give an example. Balanus, it is a dominating species, and Chathamalis, it is a smaller barnacle. Both are barnacles. Barnacles are crustaceans belonging to phylum Arthropoda. Balanus dominates, and what happens because of its superior competitive nature, it eliminates the smaller barnacle Chathamalis. So in this way, competitive exclusion eliminates the smaller organisms by the bigger organisms. Then, according to MacArthur, competitive exclusion is not true in all cases. When the species or the related species fight for the same type of food, there is no exclusion, but they adjust to survive together. He gave an example. There was a plant on which 5 warm-blood species were living. These warm-blood species birds, they feed upon the same type of food. Then how they avoid competition? They avoid competition by feeding at different times. So organisms feeding upon the same type of food try to avoid competition by adopting various methods like feeding at different times and also foraging at different times. Foraging means searching for food. So, competition need not eliminate the other species, but it may also accommodate the survival of other related species. Then, competitive release. If two organisms or two different species of organisms compete for the same food, what happens? If you remove one competitor, the other competitor will increase in its numbers and its area. So, if one competitive partner is removed experimentally, not in nature but experimentally, the other species which was restricted earlier to a smaller area spreads to large area within a short time. In this way, competitive release happens. So from this what you would understand is competition, though harmful to both the species or both the participants, sometimes it may not eliminate the other species because they make adjustments in their feeding habits and foraging habits. Then parasitism. In the case of parasitism, one partner is benefited and the other partner is harmed. Parasites are many types: ectoparasites and endoparasites. Ectoparasites live on the body surface of the host, and the endoparasites live inside the body of the host. The parasites have evolved in a way that they have lost unnecessary organs and have developed their reproductive systems to a great extent. Survival of a parasite is very difficult. So, they have many adaptations to live in the bodies of their hosts successfully. They have many adaptations. And parasites are also host specific. That means a type of parasite can survive only in the bodies of a specific host. Then, let's see what are the adaptations of parasites. Parasites lose unnecessary sense organs. The endoparasites lose almost all the, or in the endoparasites, much of the nervous system is degenerated because it is not required for any active life. Then endoparasites have adhesive organs like suckers. You take tapeworm or liver fluke. They live inside our bodies, and to remain at the same place, they have suckers for attachment. Then parasites like tapeworms have lost the digestive system completely because they receive digested food from the host. Then they have highly evolved reproductive systems. Sometimes the endoparasites are hermaphrodites. That means the same parasite has male and female reproductive organs. And their life cycles are also complicated. Endoparasites produce thousands or lakhs of eggs each day to assure that at least some will survive. Then, some endoparasites have not one but two or more intermediate parasites to carry their eggs and larvae. One example is given in the book. There is a human liver fluke. There is a liver fluke. Liver flukes belong to phylum Platyhelminthes. Liver flukes live inside our bile ducts of the liver. Human liver fluke is known as Clonarchus sinensis. Clonarchus sinensis. It has two intermediate hosts in the form of a snail. Snails belong to mollusca, phylum mollusca, and a fish. So in this way, some endoparasites have two intermediate hosts to complete their life cycle. Then, malarial parasite. Malaria is a protozoan disease caused by Plasmodium, and malarial parasite is spread by the female Anopheles mosquito. Remember that male mosquitoes cannot participate in the transmission of malarial disease. Only the females can participate. Only the females have well-developed mouth parts to suck the human blood. In spreading malaria, mosquitoes or female Anopheles mosquitoes play a very important role. But they are described as vectors, not ectoparasites. Why? They need the human blood only for the production of their eggs. Blood is not their regular food. Even without blood they can survive. But they need human blood for the production of the eggs. That's why the female Anopheles mosquitoes bite human beings. That's why they are known as vectors. They simply transmit the parasite from one person to the another person. Of course, the malarial parasite also develops in mosquito, but that is not important. Then, there is one very interesting parasitism known as brood parasitism. Birds usually lay eggs and incubate them. But there are some birds which have lost the capacity to incubate their eggs. There is a bird known as cuckoo. The cuckoo birds lay their eggs exactly when the crow or the female crow lays its eggs. It usually happens in spring and summer. When the female crow lays its eggs in its nest, the cuckoo also lays its eggs in the same nest when the female crow goes out in search of food. The female crow cannot identify or distinguish between the eggs of its own and the eggs of the cuckoo. So unknowingly, it incubates the eggs of cuckoo and helps in the development of the cuckoo birds. This is known as brood parasitism. Some of the examples given, examples of the ectoparasites are ticks. Ticks are the parasites present on the dogs. Lice is parasites present on the body of human beings. Copepores, they are found attached to the gills of fishes. Cuscuta is a ectoparasitic plant found on the trees. So in this way, there are a number of ectoparasites. I have given the names of endoparasites already. Tapeworm, liver fluke, etc. Malarial parasite. Then commensalism. In the case of commensalism, one species is benefited and the other one is neither benefited nor harmed. Examples: orchids growing on a tree. Orchids get benefited and the tree is neither benefited nor harmed. Barnacles attached to the body of a whale. Barnacles are crustaceans, crustacean arthropods. They cannot go on their own, so they get attached to the body surface of whales. And whenever the whales move, they also move from place to place and get rich food supply. Here, the whale is neither benefited nor harmed, but the barnacles gets all the benefit. Then cattle, egrets and grazing cattle. Egrets are a type of birds. They are closely associated with cattle that are grazing. Grazing means eating grass. Whenever the cattle moves in the grass, what happens? The grass is disturbed and the insects hiding in the grass, they fly or they come out. Then what happens? These cattle egrets immediately catch those insects. In this way, the cattle egrets gets all the benefit and the cattle are no way benefited. Then sea anemone and clownfish. This is very interesting. Clownfish has different colors like a clown. That's why it got the name clownfish. It hides in the tentacles of sea anemone. Sea anemone is a coelenterates having stinging cells or nematocysts. So no other animal can approach the sea anemone because it stings them. So in the clownfish, what happens? Whenever there is a danger, it hides in the tentacles of sea anemone. In this way, it gets protection. So all the benefit here goes to the clownfish, and sea anemone is neither benefited nor harmed. So in this way, commensalism benefits one organism or one associated organism, and the other organism is neither benefited nor harmed. Then let us go to the predation. I have told you predation and parasitism are similar. Here, in these two associations, one is benefited and one is harmed. In the case of parasitism, what happens is the host suffers slowly due to the actions of the parasite. All the benefits go to the parasite, but the host suffers gradually and ultimately it may die. But in the case of predation, what happens? The participants are known as predator and prey. In the case of parasitism, the participants are known as host and parasite. Here the host suffers, parasites gets benefited. Here the participants are known as predator and prey. Here you can call tiger a predator, deer a prey. In the case of predation, what happens? The predator kills the prey at once. There is no slow relationship. Tiger falls upon the deer and kills it. So in this way, the predator gets all the benefit and the prey dies. It meets its death. But in the case of parasitism, the parasite doesn't kill the host all of a sudden. The suffering and death will be very slow. That is the main difference between parasitism and predation. So in this case, predator is the beneficiary and the prey is the sufferer. But predation is very important in ecology. It helps in controlling the species, or it helps in controlling the population of the prey. Otherwise, the prey number increase enormously and it disturbs the ecosystem. So in one way, predation is also required for the ecosystem because it regulates the population of the prey. And it also plays an important role in the food chain, which we will be studying after some time. Then amensalism. Don't confuse amensalism with commensalism. In the case of amensalism, one participant is harmed and the other participant is neither harmed nor benefited. Here we can give the example of penicillin. Penicillin is an antibiotic. It is secreted by the mold Penicillium chrysogenum. So Penicillium chrysogenum secretes the antibiotic penicillin. The penicillin kills the bacteria. That means the bacteria suffers and dies. Whereas the penicillin or penicillium is neither benefited nor harmed. So it is known as negative relationship. It's not positive, it is negative. So it is destroying the bacterium for no benefit of its own. That's why it is known as negative relationship. In this way, different species of organisms interact with each other, and these interactions are various types already, which I have already described. Thank you.